Okay, one more minute and we'll get started with the class. All right, let's get started. Welcome everyone. Welcome to Hindi University. Really excited to have everyone. And for those of you who celebrate Easter, wish you all a very happy Easter. As you know, we meet every Sunday 8 a.m. US Pacific time, and we learn about the Hindi language. For those of you who are new to Hindi University, you can join us every Sunday, like I said, 8 a.m. I'm going to just do a quick preview for you about how to get access to some of the resources that we have, and then we'll start with the class. So if you're completely new, I would suggest you start with this URL that we have, tiny.cc/Hindi University, and that will bring you to the resource that we have that will give you information about how to join our Sunday class and how to get access of our Hindi book that we follow on a uh, how to follow our the book that we have, Teach Yourself Hindi, that we've been covering. And then we'll also give you information about the time that in which you'll be joining the class at the different parts of the world. Okay. And then additionally, we have some practice sessions as well. So you can get information about the practice sessions, and then the Zoom link for that. And then if you missed the previous classes, you can get all of them by going to this third tab, in which you can systematically go over all the previous classes that we've covered on the Teach Yourself Hindi book. Okay. All of you are at different level of Hindi language, at a different skills. So what we have done is we have categorized all the classes, the previous classes, in different buckets: beginners, intermediate, and advanced. So this resource is primarily for everyone, at different levels to brush up your Hindi skills. Okay. I really recommend you should continue to brush up your previous skills, and the basics are very important. So even if you have like 5-10 minutes, when you're doing some exercise or anything, feel free to watch any of the videos. That will be extremely useful for you to just quickly catch up on some of the previous topics. And then other useful links, these are the frequently asked questions that you have, and I just kind of put in here. So with that in mind, let's get started. And as I always mention, like, participation is always encouraged. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask as many times as possible. Okay, because if you have questions, most likely other people will also have similar questions. So feel comfortable asking as many questions as possible. So with that in mind, as I said, we were going over chapter number 14 on the book, which is Teach Yourself Hindi. Okay. And we were working on the passive voice in the last two classes. So this is definitely one of the advanced topics. So bear with me as we try to break it down. Okay. In the previous two classes, we focused on like defining what is a passive voice and when do we use it. Okay. So to do a quick recap, typically when we say any sentence, okay, in any language, we focus on, for the most part, we focus on the subject performing an action. Okay. Such as I will play cricket. Subject is I, the verb is play, and cricket is object. Subject is performing and, or he will be performing an action. Okay. But there are cases where the action that is being performed, you want to highlight that over who is performing it. Okay. In those cases, we use the passive voice. Okay. The same sentence which I said, like, I will play cricket. If I have to say cricket will be played, all of a sudden the focus is shifted from who is playing or who will be playing cricket to what is being played. Okay, all those situations or scenarios can be said in different tenses. So in the previous two classes, we tried to cover passive voices in present tense as well as in the past tense, and we did basics of future indefinite tense. In this class, we will learn about how to do the passive voice of subjunctive scenario. Okay, subjunctive scenario. Don't worry if this word sound intimidating. Subjunctive. We'll try to do this as well. Okay, so my goal is by the end of this class, you will have a good pattern or a good handle on how to say the subjunctive scenario in the passive voice. Okay, and also identify what are those scenarios. Okay, um, so I'll start with very basic, as you all know. I'll start with I'll start with the definition first, or rather, first example that I used. Okay, which I said, I will play cricket. A simple example. Okay, I'll ask for one of you to volunteer here. Tell me which tense this sentence is written in. Okay, and very basically, how will you say it in Hindi? Okay, and then gradually we'll take this sentence into a subjunctive scenario, and then I'll give definition of what do we mean by that. Okay, so let's start with that. Whoever wants to volunteer, okay, we can go first. Typically, I ask you, and I don't want to put anyone on the spot in the morning.
Ashu
Irka,
Ji,
you want to do that? Simple?
I'm not too
Yeah.
sure. Is it
Go for
future
it.
tense? Is it future?
Yeah, go for it. It's a future indefinite.
मैं cricket खेलूंगी.
Okay, so it's future indefinite. Okay, awesome. And you said?
मैं cricket खेलूंगी or खेलूंगा. Is it?
That's
Not
right.
too sure.
So you said मैं cricket खेलूंगी for a girl, for feminine singular, and
खेलूंगा.
खेलूंगा for masculine singular. Okay, great. So as you know, this is a straightforward one. Great job there. So verb is खेलना. खेलना is to play. So what you've done is, because it's future indefinite, I will play cricket. You replace the na with unga if I'm saying it, ungi for a female. Okay, and that's how you came up with the sentence. Fair and simple. Now, same sentence. Now, in the previous class, we learned about how to say the same thing in passive voice. Okay, before I do that, what if I want to say the same sentence in a subjunctive scenario? Okay, who remembers what subjunctives are? We've done it in the many classes back, but who vaguely recalls what subjunctive scenarios are? So first we'll try to do, this is again a very simple future indefinite, okay, which can be said in passive voice easily, okay, based on the pattern that we learned. But before we do that, what is a subjunctive scenario?
Like I want you to play cricket.
Okay, very good. So I want, if the scenario was written as I want you to play cricket. What is happening here though? What, like, this is a good example of a subjunctive case. But under the hood, what is happening?
Under the hood. All I know is just like from other languages that if you want someone to do something, then it's the subjunctive tense, but I don't know beyond that.
No, that is correct. When you want someone to comply with your request. So in this case, what you're saying is like you want, Kelly Ji wants, let's say Ashu to play cricket.
I do.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I put myself on the spot now. Okay. So, so you want someone to comply with your request or proposals or suggestions or opinions. Those are all subjunctive scenarios. Okay. So There are many examples of it. This is a very classic one. I want you to play cricket, right? The other one is like when you want to wish someone. Okay, typically when we say, like for example, uh, I want to say good wishes for Easter. Okay, many ways to say it. Like I can say Easter ki badhaiya, badhaiya, and I'll end with ho. That's also a subjunctive case where you are just ending it with ho. Okay. Now let me. So essentially, the rule for creating a subjunctive verb is you first write the sentence in future indefinite, and in the end you remove the ga, ge, and gi at the end of the verb, and that becomes a subjunctive case. Okay, so I wrote मैं cricket खेलूंगा or खेलूंगी. If the same thing is written as मैं cricket खेलूं खेलूं or मैं cricket, same thing for guy or girl regardless, मैं cricket खेलूं, that means like it translates into should I play cricket. Okay, that it's a subjunctive case. Okay, same thing, that the example that we wrote previously, like I want you to play cricket, मैं चाहता हूँ, I want. Okay, for a guy मैं चाहता हूँ, or for a girl it's मैं चाहती हूँ that you play cricket, कि आप cricket खेलें. Okay, you not write that in present indefinite, that you write it in future indefinite and you remove the ga, ge, and gi at the end. Okay,
Ashu Ji, this is a lot about uncertainty, right? So
Right.
if it's uncertain, that's the criteria.
Anything which is unreal, uncertain. In addition to that, if you want to express or indicate your wishes, suggestions, proposals, opinions, they all fall into this subjunctive bucket. Okay. In the previous example, I'll write that down as well, which is I want you to play cricket. There, this is, you can say it is somewhat uncertain, but from your perspective, you are giving a suggestion or you're wishing. Okay. So if you were to just write I want, it would be मैं. So this is sentence number 1. Okay. I want, मैं चाहता हूँ और चाहती हूँ. Hopefully this should be clear to everyone, right? This is fairly simple sentence. I want. Okay. I want. Okay. And then the second one is I want you to play cricket. So right, think of the subordinate case. This is the second case, which is the subordinate sentence, and really the word subjunctive is really coming from subordinate clause. Okay, and that is basically, how do you write this part? You will play cricket. You will play cricket, and you will write it as आप cricket खेलेंगे. That's how you write it in future indefinite, right? For आप is खेलेंगे. So first sentence, which is the primary clause, मैं चाहता हूँ, I want. Second one is the subordinate clause, which is you play cricket or you will play cricket, which is आप cricket खेलेंगे. When you combine both of them together, it will become मैं चाहता हूँ, and you will add them using the conjunction key, right? Because there are two sentences and you're joining them. Okay, मैं चाहता हूँ कि आप cricket, and you will drop the gay part. Okay, मैं चाहता हूँ कि आप cricket खेलें. Okay, I wish or I want that you play cricket. Okay, so this is the basic subjunctive scenario. You can change it to anything. मैं चाहता हूँ कि आप खाना बनाएं. Okay, मैं चाहता हूँ कि आप पानी पिएं. मैं चाहता हूँ कि आप हिंदी सीखें. मैं चाहता हूँ कि आप भारत घूमें. मैं चाहता हूँ कि आप दुनिया घूमें. और मैं चाहता हूँ कि आप बहुत कुछ सीखें. Okay, so you see, in just like with this pattern, I was able to say so many things. You can pretty much write an essay. Okay, so if you're giving advice or a career advice or anything to anyone, like you can really write it in the subjunctive case. Let me take a pause here before we make it even more complicated and jump to the passive voice for it.
Ashu Ji is also, wait, let me see. I always forget with Asha if it's mujhe or me, but it like me, Asha, hun ki, like I hope that. Is that also subjunctive as well?
मुझे आशा है. You can, yeah,
Okay.
मुझे आशा है कि, and then the second part is how you're saying the second part. If the second part, your track is correct, right? You are hoping there, okay? In the second one, if you're dropping the ga, ge, and gi, then you are really saying it in the subjunctive case.
So it depends again about kind of like the level of certainty.
That is correct.
Is that it?
Yeah,
Okay.
that is. Yeah. Any other questions?
Ashu Ji, can I?
Yeah.
I
Go
thought
for it.
somebody else was.
Go for it. One person at a time. I don't know. Say your name and go for it.
Nikki,
Yep.
just quickly, sorry. So I guess if this was, if you wanted to say that I wished that you would play, like as if to say you did wish it, but you don't anymore, is that still subjunctive or not? And then do you use like a past tense?
That's an interesting case. That's an interesting case. Like, what if it was a past scenario? Would you use a subjunctive case? I would not, because this is something you are expressing for something that hasn't happened. It's something that is, you anticipate that you wish to happen in the future. Okay. In the scenario that you're describing, that like, shayad aapne aisa kiya hota, like you would say it slightly differently. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Kelly ji, you have any other thoughts on that?
Sorry, I was looking at Yurka just put some good stems on there.
Which
You know,
one?
that's Yurka just put some stems in the chat about, the different situations where you would use it. Then that's helpful to know, like, what are those different stems,
Yeah. So the stances are, if I can read it, मुझे आशा है, मुझे उम्मीद है, मैं चाहता हूँ, हो सकता है, शायद and काश. Those are pretty good actually. Those are very useful one where you are, starting the sentence with those keywords first. Yeah. All right. So let's get going. Yeah, there was one more question actually before when Nikki ji was asking. There was one more question. Go for it.
I was just going to say, Ashu Ji, that it sounds like if you're a diplomat, you'll use a subjunctive. Otherwise, if you're a teacher, you'll say, you will do this homework. And if a diplomat will say, you shall do this, or you should do this, or you shall. Just change it slightly. Is that it? Or?
Well, if you're a parent also, if you want to be a little bit sarcastic, if you don't want to be direct, you can use it too, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
okay.
right. So, but you are right. If you're a diplomat, you'll definitely, you can use those cases very easily, right? But if you want to pass something in a subtle way, you can still use it. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
But I don't do it. Like if I have to tell something to my kids, it will be direct, right? I mean, I won't beat around them. Yeah. All right. So let's jump to so just like the way we did the passive voice of all the tenses, there is a passive voice for subjunctives as well. And that's that's our goal. And I'll try to first give you the longer approach of how to write or how to translate the subjunctive cases in passive voice. And after that, we learn the pattern. We'll just master the pattern. Okay. So think about it this way. Let's say your primary sentence is, the primary sentence is आप चाय बनाएंगे. What does it mean? Anyone? Tom, what does it mean? आप चाय बनाएंगे.
It means I will prepare tea.
आप,
Sorry, you will prepare tea. Beg your pardon. You will prepare tea.
you, great, right? So you will make chai. What is the word here?
I'm sorry. What is the word?
Verb. What is the
Oh,
verb?
the verb. I'm sorry. Banaya.
Banana.
Banana.
To prepare or to make.
Prepare to make.
Right? Simple. Fairly easy. आप चाय बनाएंगे. Great job. Okay. Now you have to say the same thing that we learned in the previous class. How to say this sentence, which is written in future indefinite. First, try to say it in passive voice. How will you say that, Tom?
In the passive voice, the direct object becomes the subject. So chai becomes our subject now.
Mhm.
I was preparing chai, but now chai will be prepared.
Yeah, chai will be prepared.
For the passive voice, we always start with the past tense of the main verb, since the passive is a 2-verb sequence. The
That's right.
past tense of banaya is, banana is banaya,
Okay.
and depending on the gender of the subject. And then we use jana to express the passive.
Okay.
And in the future, jana will become jaenge.
Okay. Great. So, what will you look at?
We look at banana and change it to the past tense, banaya. But
So,
I believe chai is feminine.
chai is feminine.
So banai.
Oh, great. So, chai is feminine. So, banai, and then
And then the future, to express the future passive, will be prepared. Jana becomes jane.
one more time.
I'm sorry, he's going to be jaege.
Chai. Okay. So, because chai is feminine, it will be
Jai.
जाएगी.
Jaegi.
Right? चाय बनाई जाएगी. Great. I'm really happy.
Thank you.
Awesome. Good exercise, right? So let's start from the beginning. आप चाय बनाएंगे, which is you will make chai. Okay. Same thing if it is said in passive voice, you will not really worrying about who is making, rather what is being made. Okay. Chai, and then remember the rule for passive voice is, as Tom mentioned, you have to add banana plus jana. Those are the two common verbs here, right? And then you will say, first part you will say it in the past perfect, which is based on the gender of the subject here, which is chai is feminine, banana becomes banai, and jana, because we are saying it in future indefinite, you will remove the na and you will put egi, because chai is feminine. So chai banai jayegi, which is tea will be made. Okay, chai banai jayegi. Chai banai jayegi. Now there are two cases here. Okay, first one is if I remove this ghee from this sentence, and if I say chai banai jaye, okay, versus if I'm saying it in a manner where I'm asking questions, chai banai jaye. Okay, first one is, I'm saying let's make tea, let's make chai. Okay, in the second one is shall Or in the second one, I'm saying, should we make chai? Should we make chai? We is not written here because it's sort of like in a passive voice. Should we make chai? In another case, this sentence is written really like, shall tea be made by us? That's how you're saying it in the second one. Okay. In the first one, it's like, let's all, where you are, they use the word called exhortation, where you are commanding someone, let's go do this thing. Okay. So the pattern is pretty simple. Okay. All of them are ending with jai. All of them. Okay. And the verb here is basically, because it's, you're saying chai here, you're ending it with ye. Okay. Let me take it. This is a big way of like, or a longer way of translating or saying anything into a subjunctive case. I'll give you one more example, and after that we'll just directly jump on to this scenario. Okay. Where you are either commanding all of your people or your folks or friends to do something. Okay. Or you are asking it in a suggesting in a way of like asking question, shall we do something, or shall we cook food? Okay. Shall we watch movie? And that's what the shall we construction that Rupert Snell also talks about in the book. Okay.
Ashu Ji,
Go for
Ashu
it.
Ji, in the both sentences, both are very same, but it's all expressing in the tone of the voice, isn't it? And
That's correct.
also in the second one, should we make a chai? Isn't that we have to ask the like chai banai jaye? Is
That's
it a
right.
yen
So
at the end?
that is right. So what
Like a
she's saying,
nasal sound yen at the end, like in the questioning form, chai banai jaye?
that's right.
And let's make a chai is chai banai chai
Yeah,
banai. Yeah,
that's right.
chai banai.
Yeah, no, that's a great observation and comment. Basically, what she's saying is like, Shai Banaija, there is no interrogative in the beginning. Okay. So it's really how you are saying the sentence. And that's the same thing in English also, right? In English also, we shall go, right? If you're saying the same sentence in an affirmative case, but if you're ending in such a way that it is like in a question, that's basically asking a question. So even though there is no interrogative in the beginning, it is said like chai banai jaye, like it's in a question manner, and that's why it is like, should we make chai? In this case, it's really how you're ending it, like where it is like a command. Okay, chai banai jaye, let's all make chai. Okay, so it's not a question. Essentially, they both are written in the same manner, but how you're ending it and what your tone is when you're saying it. Okay. We'll do one more example here because this can be tricky. So we'll do one more example, and after that, hopefully that will be much clearer. Okay. And most importantly, I want you to look at the scenarios where you'll be using these two, because that's everything else apart. That's the most important part, right? I mean, we can look at the mechanics of it, but you have to really recognize the scenario. Okay. So we will eat. So let's say the sentence is in active voice, which is we will eat food, right? Who would like to give it a try? Tatiana ji? Sorry, I'll put you on spot, but help me here. How will you say this? We will eat food.
Ham khana बनाएंगे.
So in this case, you have to cook before we eat, right? So
हम खाना बनाएंगे.
So we will eat. Sorry, in this case,
हम खाना बनाए जाएगा.
So to make is banana, and to eat is also
To eat. Okay. हम खाना खाएंगे.
very good. हम खाना
खाएंगे.
Okay, which is a simple sentence in future indefinite. We will eat food. Now let's translate into future passive voice. Food will be consumed. How will you say that?
Khana.
Uh-huh.
Khaye jaye.
Okay, khana is masculine, so khana.
Khaya.
Uh-huh.
Jaya.
Okay, so jana is the second part or the compound verb. You'll remove na and khana khaya.
Jaya.
So right now, don't worry about subjunctives. Right now, just say it in as if you are saying it in future indefinite.
Jayenge.
Jayega,
Jayega.
right? Masculine singular. Khana khaya jayega. Yes. Now you can try to remove this part. Ga.
Okay.
Then it becomes subjunctive.
Khana.
Huh?
Khayi. No.
No.
Khana khaya jaye.
Right. Khana khana jay. Khana khaya jay. Okay. Awesome. What about the second case? Same thing.
Khana khaya jaye.
Okay. That's very good. Khana khaya jay. Okay. So let's eat food. Essentially, that's what you're saying. Let's eat food. Okay. In this case, shall we eat food? Shall we eat, or should we eat food? Which is basically, shall this food be consumed by us? Okay, that's exactly what you're trying to say here. Khana, khana khaya jaye. Same thing. In this case, is exhortations where you are commanding everyone. Khana khaya jaye. Okay, let's all eat food. Let's say you all gathered in a party. Okay, you are the one pretty much know everyone. Okay, and people are circling around you, and you're like, okay, khana khaya jaye, like let's all eat food. That's the scenario where you will be saying it. Okay, but in the same scenario, you can also say this thing, shall we all eat food, khana khaya jaye, right? You can say that as well. Okay, questions here? I know it can be tricky.
One question I had, Ashu Ji, this
Yeah.
is Nikki, is sometimes you will use a passive form for a specific person. So, you know, like food will be eaten by him, let's say.
Uh-huh.
And if there will be, can there also be a subjunctive version of that for not us, but like, shall, you know, where it says shall we eat food, it's more like should he eat food? Is that also still subjunctive? And would you still phrase it the same?
The thing is, in passive voice, is regardless of who is eating it, the focus is really what is being done or what shall be done. So if I'm talking to you, like let's sit down, like baitha jaye, right? So it's, it's really a that part is secondary about who is doing it, right? That is, in this case, you can't really tell let's eat food, whether it is like you, I, or us versus a particular person. Like
So,
unless you're saying like shall food be eaten by him. But even in English, you don't really say that. Right? Shall cricket be played by him or her? You don't really say that, right? I mean, so I see your concern here. Like, can I really put at the end uske dwara? I mean, theoretically you can put it in the end, but
or
yeah.
even just for the jaye part, if you're talking about yourself, like let or shall I eat food, then jaye is jaye, let food be eaten by me.
You
Shall
will
food be eaten by me? Jayung or jay?
in the passive voice, that's why I was not trying to get into that.
Okay.
In the passive voice, you will still say khana khaya jaye. Okay.
Okay.
So essentially, khana khaya jaye is it's a passive scenario for, let me erase this part. So let's say मैं खाना खाऊंगा. This is your primary sentence. I will eat food. मैं खाना खाऊंगा. The subjunctive case of this is मैं खाना खाऊं. This is exactly what you're asking, right? मैं खाना खाऊं. That's a subjunctive case of this part. Okay. But this is an active voice. मैं खाना खाऊं. In the passive way, in the passive case, it will be खाना खाया जाए. So that's regardless of आप खाना खाएं, हम खाना खाएं, वे खाना खाएं. The passive voice is still the same. खाना खाया जाए.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, awesome. So this is again a very longer route, and I don't want you to. It's good for discussion purposes. Now I really want you all to just keep on saying these sentences where you are directly saying it in a passive voice of a subjunctive case. So let me write down a pattern here, and we will just encourage each other to say it in directly in that. Okay, so I'm going to write it down so you can identify the pattern yourself. The first one we wrote was chai banai chai. And for the sake of clarity, I'm going to just use the interrogative way. Okay, shall we make chai? Chai banai, shall we make chai? Chai banai jai. Okay, same thing, we had khana khaya jai, shall we eat food? Khana khaya jai. Okay, shall we eat food? Okay, how will you say shall we all play cricket? Let's see, Atara ji, shall we play cricket? You have to unmute yourself. Or anything, baseball, football, soccer.
हम क्रिकेट खेला जाए.
Okay, so regardless of we, you will not put we here because this is implied. So just by this pattern, shall we play cricket would be
क्रिकेट खेला जाए.
awesome. Cricket khela jaye. Shall we play cricket or shall cricket be played by us? That's how you will say it, but shall we play cricket? That's what you mean here. Shall we play? In this case, you are, assume that the scenario is you are with your friends and you are discussing, and then, all of a sudden you want to propose, like, should we play cricket? Okay. And the answer could be yes or no. Okay. Another scenarios, shall we start the class? Let's say I'm starting the class and I'm asking all of you, shall we start the class? How will I say that in Hindi? Sunita ji, shall we start the class?
Class Chuhu okay, Chuhu Jaye.
So should we, yeah,
Kia
because class is feminine, it would be
Ki.
awesome. Class shuru ki jaye. Great, right? Because karna is also irregular verb. When you're saying it in past participle, it's class shuru ki jaye. Okay.
Okay.
खाना खाया जाए, खाना बनाया जाए, all of them are all same. Okay. How about I think Rupert Snell uses this example, which is basically tea shall be brought. Tea shall be brought. Tea shall be brought. Like when you are, you're not saying who should bring it, but like, someone should bring the tea. Okay. Radhika ji, how will you say that? Tea shall be brought. Hopefully this pattern is now clear. All of them are ending with, Jai. Okay, Adhika ji, if you're not there, or Nandini ji, you're there?
Oh, this Lena, is it like a compound verb here?
No.
Chai?
Yeah, chai.
Chai is feminine, so it's either lai jai or le gai jai or
No, this is, you are on right. Chai lai jai.
jai.
Chai lai jai. Okay, tea shall be brought. Okay, let's get some more.
Ashu Ji, can you just pause on that last one? Because this is one that we just pondered over in the practice session. So the other ones were all like, okay, shall we do this? Shall we do that? Shall we do that? So in that pattern, it is, shall the tea be brought?
Shall the tea be brought?
Is that what it, shall the tea be brought? Is that what it's?
Basically, I mean, you will not say it in English because it sounds weird. You know?
Right.
Yeah, but essentially it is like, if you roughly translate it, it will come around that only. Shall the tea be brought? Or tea shall be brought, or shall the tea be brought? Yes.
I don't know why I can't wrap my brain around this one, because the other ones make perfect sense, right? Like, shall we, or like, shall we practice? Abhyas kare, right?
Yeah.
Like, or something, but like these, okay. So it's saying, chai lai jaye. Okay. I mean,
that's why I wrote it like this: tea shall be brought. But essentially, shall the tea be brought? That's how it is, right? In the passive case.
tea shall be brought. Okay.
Tea shall be brought, yeah.
Okay. My mind just doesn't like that one.
I know, because it's again, we're thinking in English there, right? If you put yourself in this side, which is what I'm trying to do in this scenario, it'll make much easier, because you are really trying to, command. Let's say you are in a party, okay, and you are sort of the person in charge, and you're like, chai lai jai, like, and you don't care who will bring it, like, but you are just simply expressing your wishes there. Right?
Wait, so okay. So you're sitting there and you're saying it's not like someone will bring the tea. It's, don't worry, tea shall be brought. Like, very emperor like.
Yeah, it is like that. Like, let's say you're sitting there, you're hungry, and you're like, khana laya jaye, and like, because you're hungry, like, food shall be brought. Okay, that's what you're really expressing your desire. Or if you're thirsty, pani laya jaye. So my focus is really like, how can you think in just this part or this format? Pani laya jaye, khana laya jaye, chai lai jaye. I mean, it's like our kids when they're home, like, they can pretty much, like, they don't speak so much Hindi, but like, if they really want to say it, they can say it. It's a respectful way, in a way, but
So I'm sorry. So just one last thing. So you're sitting at a restaurant and you're starving, and then you say that, don't, like, bread will be brought. Like, bread is coming. I guess it's just a different way of saying.
It's a different way of saying it. Like, mujhe, one is you are saying it like, mujhe bhook lagi hai. Focus is on you versus focus is on what you want now. Right?
Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
Ashu
Like,
ji,
in the one case you will say mujhe pani chahiye. Okay. The other case is pani laya jaye. Okay. Let's do some more examples, because it seems like this is still not there. Yeah.
Ashu ji, is it jaye? When it's subjunctive, is it always with the a at the end, or is it sometimes? I mean, does it change based on, like, you should? I'm saying you should bring it instead of it will be brought in general, does the ending change?
So it's basically, in Hindi, there can be some subtle difference between ye versus ja-a, but for all practical purpose, all of them are ending with, in the passive voice, all of them are ending with this pattern. But there are definitely subtle cases where you are ending it with ye versus ja-a. But for all practical purposes, it is, whether it is, because there's no focus on the subject here, right? Um,
Okay, so that's just the construction.
that's right. Yeah.
Thanks.
Give me your example though. What you have in your mind?
Well, instead of saying chai will be brought or chai should be brought, if I'm saying to someone, "Will you know, or implying that it should be brought by you, then would the ending change to something else?
No, it will not change the ending, uh, unless you are trying to fit that part. But even in that case, like um, if you say like by someone ke dwara lai jai, you will still put jai at the end, jai, right? Class shuru ki jai, you're still putting it with jai. Okay, whether it is by me or by you, by all of us, you still say the same thing.
All right, thanks.
Yeah.
Ashu Ji, these are all singular subjects. Will it change if there's a plural subject?
Yeah, great question, right? Let's say how we do it. Let's all clean the house. How will you say that? Like, house shall be cleaned by all
Okay,
of us.
that's a
How will you say that?
singular subject again, house. So gar,
Houses shall be cleaned. How about that?
I'm sorry, start with shall we?
Houses shall be cleaned. Let's say, yeah.
Oh, I'm afraid I'll have to have someone help. I can't do that.
Give it a chance. What is houses? Let's clean that. Houses.
I believe excuse me, I believe house is feminine. So gar, gari,
No, so gar is gar. Yeah, gar.
gar
Mhm.
shall be clean. To clean, I don't know the verb to clean.
Clean. Who can help? Cleanest. To cleanest.
साफ करना
Very good. To clean is साफ करना.
So gar, ab karna,
Look at this
ab,
pattern.
abkari,
Okay, just look at all these patterns. चाय लाई जाए, क्लास शुरू की जाए, क्रिकेट खेला जाए, खाना खाया जाए, घर.
so if it's abkarna, it'd be abkar.
So you have to conjugate the verb. साफ, घर साफ.
Oh, thank you. Saf, then the karna will take the appropriate ending. So kia, saf kia, saf ki, sorry,
No, that's good. घर साफ किया.
saf kia, and then will be cleaned. It's going to be the conjugated form of jana.
You see that, right? The pattern.
So jaye.
Very good. Now, one thing which you put me, I have to check whether it ends with a nasalized sound or not, because you are starting with a plural. घर साफ किए जाए. Okay.
Thank you.
I have to check on that part, but so hang in there. But my hunch is it will be ending with the nasalized sound, because you are talking about multiple houses. So घर साफ किए जाए.
Thank
Okay,
you.
houses shall be cleaned. You see the pattern, right? You
Yes.
exactly the same thing, right? I mean, घर, which is your subject here, साफ करना becomes साफ, घर साफ किए, because it's no longer one house. So घर साफ किए जाए.
Kie jaye. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Good job. Who has confusion? Because it's better that whoever has confusion, we give you one example, and you help us say it in Hindi. That's the best way to learn. Or one of the way to learn. घर साफ किए जाए. Okay, so anyone?
Ashu Ji, sorry. I think where I was a little bit confused with Kelly is I think because all the other sentences were sort of, it was clear that there was some uncertainty in the statement, the English statement. Shall we play this, or let's play this? But shall be brought, I think to me sounded like it's kind of known that it's going to be brought, like it will be brought. And that's why when you first wrote it, I thought it would be the rather it would be lai jaegi rather than so I think that's what it was. So is it because of shall that if that's what's kind of adds this the slight uncertainty to the sentence, or?
I'm trying to understand the confusion here. You're saying it's hard to see the uncertainty there in the chai lai jai case.
Yeah, because if what's the difference between that and tea will be brought?
So tea will be brought as chai lai jayegi.
Yeah.
Okay, versus chai lai jai. Right. So confusion is when will I use this versus when will I use this one, right?
Yeah.
Is that the confusion? Chai lai jayegi. I mean, this is more certain for sure. You have more certainty in this one. So where you are basically tea will be brought, right? In this case, I was a native speaker. Chai lai jai is like when I'll use this one when I'm like commanding like chai leke aa jaye, chai lai jai. Okay.
Oh, Ashu Ji, I'm just remembering, isn't there like you can't use should in the passive. You can't use chahiye in the passive, right? So that's why you're using this. Is that what this is? Because this is should.
Which one? This one? Chai lai jai?
Yeah, that tea should be brought, right? Tea should be brought, but you can't use chahiye, right?
That it's the same scenario that you're thinking, like, but we will not say that. So this should is not really I think the if I put should, then you will say why we are not saying chahiye in the sentence, and that's why I was trying to not write that the should here, but
is that just one way, like that you can't use should in the passive? Like you can't use chahiye, I mean, in the passive. So this is just a way of saying that using passive voice.
That is correct. That is correct. Right. But I think her confusion is like, what is the difference between this case and this case? That's her confusion. But if you really translate that roughly like chai should be brought.
Okay, that makes sense a bit more than to me. Then it shall be brought to me. Just in my brain sounds quite certain, like it shall be brought, sort of thing.
The thing is, like, we are trying to, I see your confusion. If you think it in English, then you are like, if it is shall, then it's basically it's more affirmative. There is certainty there. But in should, you are saying like I see some uncertainty there because right. So
Ashu Ji, can I add something to it?
Yeah, please.
In this case, for me to understand better, in the front of the sentence, I put shayad, like probably the child will be brought, and then it makes sense to me. So in all these subjunctive sentences, I put shayad in front of it, and then it makes sense to me.
So basically, Yirka is saying if I put shayad chai lai jai, okay, it'll be easier for you to think it that way. Okay. Well, that's definitely one way to think about it. For definitely for active scenarios, if you're thinking in the active scenario, that definitely makes sense. Like shayad barish ho, shayad main aapse milu, shayad main parents se baat karun, shayad main khana khaun. Like those are all your desires which that you want to express. In this case, though, it's slightly different. Okay, slightly different in the sense like one case is like where you are, as I said, like you're exhorting, like where you're saying that that shall be done. Okay, or you're asking a question, like let's say if I'm starting the class. Okay, if I'm starting a class and I'm asking guys like class shuru ki jaye. Now this is not like really an unrealistic case. I'm really proposing, shall I start the class? Okay, and more than likely, I know that we will start the class, but I'm like, just still discussing with all of you. Shall I start the class? Class shuru ki jaye, okay? Or class ab khatam ki jaye, okay? It's about almost like 9 o'clock. Class khatam ki jaye, okay? I know that you more than likely you will agree with me, but I'm still like proposing or asking in that manner, okay? My thing would be, as I said, like try to think in this part and like more in Hindi. Otherwise, it'll continue to have the same situation. So I'm going to write some more example, okay? And I'm going to try to explain the scenario in which I'll be using it, right? So as I said, let's say you are in a restaurant and they brought you parathas, like the stuffed parathas, okay? And then you're still so busy talking to your friends that you lost track of time. And right in front of you, there are you see delicious paratha, and you can say parathe khaye jaye. You're not going to say shayad parathe khaye jaye, right? You'll simply say parathe khaye jaye, like shall we all eat parathas now, okay? That's the example or the scenario. You're all standing and talking to each other, okay? And you're like, now we'll get tired. Why shall we sit basically? So you will say baitha jaye, okay? Baithna is to sit down, right? And then you are really let's all sit down, or let us sit, okay? Baitha jaye, okay? Let's say you all again gather together, okay? You are so busy that you lost track of that there is a game, and you all want to watch, okay? You can say a match, which is the match that you want to watch. Match dekha jaye, match dekha jaye, okay? All of them you end it with like it's the tone is really you are asking a question. Match dekha jaye, okay? Parathe khaye jaye, baitha jaye, match dekha jaye, okay? You are, and maybe the South Indians friends can recognize with it, like I know my friend, whenever they're from Andhra, so whenever they want to leave, like his my friend, he pretty much asks his wife Podamma, which is my hunch is like it means like shall we leave, right? Which is basically chala jaye, shall we leave, okay? Or let us go, okay? All of those are same.
Ashu Ji, in Tamil also we do the same thing.
What do you say?
We won't say that we are leaving. Instead, we'll kind of politely we are saying that we are leaving. Instead of saying we are leaving, polam, like or give me an order, something like that. We also do that in Tamil.
Yeah, that's good, right? So
often. Yeah.
How do you say it?
Polama or uttaravu kudungal, just it's in a more formal, like you're asking permission to leave, but you're not really asking permission, but you're in the polite way of saying I'm about to leave, you're leaving now.
Awesome, great. Hopefully this gets better. Parathe khaye jaye, baitha jaye, match dekha jaye, chala jaye.
Ashu Ji, I know that we're getting close to the end, but I just wanted to see if you could address, that one that's on page 179. So he has the Bazar Jaya Jaye, right? So the jhana, that's instead of Gaya Jaye.
That's the hardest one. That's the hardest one. You should just memorize that part.
So I said, is there only one irregular?
That's only one.
Only one.
Yeah. It's better you just memorize that one.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. Next one is like, let's say all get together. Kya kiya jaye? Like, what shall we do? Like, let's say all you guys come to my house, and everyone has different preferences. Someone wants to play games. Someone wants to watch movie. Someone wants to go travel around. I can ask a question, kya kiya jaye? Right? Still the same pattern. Okay, still the same pattern. The reason I'm writing so many sentences so that at least it brings some of these in your mind as well. Okay, which is what I want in the breakout room. I want you to look at this pattern. If you want, you can take a screenshot of it, okay, or write it down. And I want you to at least come up with, each of you to come up with 5 similar sentences and discuss with your colleagues in the breakout room. And also next week, basically the entire week, think about some more scenarios and at least talk to any of the native speakers or your friends who you are comfortable with, and see if it becomes part of your day-to-day practice. Yeah, any questions before we do the breakout rooms? But this is sort of the how you say the passive sentences of the subjunctives. So write it in future indefinite. That's a bigger route. Say it in future indefinite in passive voice, and remove the same thing, parate khaye jayenge. Okay, parate khaye jayenge. If you were to say it in future indefinite passive, I remove the ga gegi, parate khaye jaye. Okay, same thing, baitha jayega. Okay, match dekha jayega, match will be watched. I remove the ending part and match dekha jaye. Okay, same thing, kya kiya. I mean, again, these may not make sense, but you get the gist of it. Okay, so you can take either route. Either you can take the longer route, or you can just directly get comfortable, finding the scenarios and saying it. Questions?
Hello.
Yeah.
I'm very new. I'm trying to catch up with everyone. So I just have a question concerning the sentence. If I can say so, shall we listen to music? Can we say Gana Suna Jai?
Awesome. Gana suna jai. Very good. Gana suna jai. That's a great example. Gana suna jai. You can say that.
Sorry, and music and song, is it the same, Gana, or?
That's right. The same, just like food. Khana is also a noun. Khana is also a verb.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah, great. Salau, right?
Salwa. Yeah, Salwa.
Yeah,
Thank you.
We already know it. Gana gaya. Gana suna jai, bilkul.
बिल्कुल बहुत शुक्रिया धन्यवाद.
If you have to leave, any of you at the before the breakout room, don't feel compelled. It's a Sunday, so and 1 hour class can be really exhausting. Okay, so we'll do breakout room now, which is basically all of you will be grouped in different sections. That's your way of discussing your questions with your friends.